Okay, I suppose my notes is shown in this display, but it doesn't. But anyway, I will start the talk. Good morning. Thank you. My name is Shugo Maeda, a Ruby committer and co-chairman of the Ruby Association and a director of Network Applied Communication Laboratory. So, sorry for taking light. I'm not Shugo Maeda. Shugo is my boss in my company. He's supposed to be talking here, but some reason he can't attend this conference. So let me speak instead of Shugo. And most of the slides is written by Shugo. So if you have something question, ask Shugo on Twitter. My name is Yutaka Hara. I have two Twitter accounts. One is English and one is Japanese. And I have GitHub account and some open source projects. Today I will talk about Ruby's past, present, and future. First, I'd like to start with Ruby's past. Ruby was born on February 24th, 1993. But at that time, no implementation exists, no other specification exists. Only name was there. Ruby was invented by Yukihiro Matsumoto, as known as Mats, but the name Ruby is not decided by him. Keiju Ishitsuka, he was colleague of Yukihiro Matsumoto, decided the name Ruby. This is a IRC log of that time. Keiju says propose Ruby with this line. And Matt asked why a Julian name. So then Keiju said Perl. Ruby is very affected by Perl, so Keiju thought it should be dual name. The latest Ruby version is 1.92.3, but 1994, the first Ruby, the oldest Ruby version you can download is released. It's Ruby 0.49. This is the Hello World program in Ruby 0.49. It looks like same as current Ruby. But it's same, but it's something different because you could not omit parentheses in Ruby 0.49. In contrast, in Python 2, you can omit the parentheses, but in Python 3, you cannot omit the parentheses. This is the opposite of how Ruby evolved. So Shugo found this in Ruby's principle named COC, not convention over configuration, but convenience over consistency. In Python, the print statement was removed for consistency, but users have to pay for the elegance of language. In Ruby, you can omit parentheses for convenience, then Ruby's syntax is a bit awkward, but users become more happy. This is another example in Ruby 0.49. You can see several differences from Ruby 1.9. One, class name doesn't start from the capital character. Two, there was a block, but do is different place. Three, the raise method is called fail. And four, you can write optional keyword after end, the corresponding one. And five, this means that this function is private. And another more example to show the difference. One is protect is used instead of begin. So number two is there was display console supported in Ruby 0.49. And three, they used risk instead of rescue. So remember, it is a private release. So Ruby was not published in internet at that time. So there was an English typo even in keywords. So it looks very different, but it already has some essential features of Ruby. For example, it was interpreter language and pure object-oriented and dynamically typed, and it has garbage collection, and it has blocks, and so on. So next, I talk about what was Ruby created for. Shugo thinks there's three reasons why Mats created Ruby. The first purpose is Ruby for Unix. Now Ruby is supported on Mac, Windows, and many platforms, but Ruby was first created for Unix. Specifically developed on Sony News OS, as the slide says. I don't know the OS, but I heard it is a variant of BSD. And he wants a language for easy scripting like Perl did. So Ruby was started on Unix, so Ruby's function names are tied closely to Unix and C. Mats likes Smalltalk a lot, but not self-contained like Smalltalk, because he wanted to do daily scripting tasks. So we use text editor and shell to coding in Ruby. These names came from Unix or C. So if you learn Unix and C, you can easily find what method does what task. Although some APIs are wrapper of Unix API, some of them are improved than original one. For example, the EOF method returns true before reading fails, while the system call doesn't. Or IO.select can be used to buffer IO too, while the system call can't. So second purpose is object-oriented programming, OOP. So OP is excellent, but too heavy for daily scripting. So Math's the solution is the syntax can be not object-oriented, but semantics is pure object-oriented. For example, this is a valid program in Ruby. There's no class definition or specifying receiver when calling methods. So the function the method fib looks like function. But in Ruby, fib is not really a method, not really a function, but that is a method. In Ruby, you can omit receiver, and self is used in that case. At the top level, self is bound to an object instance of object class. So if you define a method directly on the top level, that method is available on whole program. So it looks like a global function, like C. And Ruby is pure object-oriented semantics. For example, all the data, even integers, are objects in Ruby, and most operators, such as plus, minus, are methods in Ruby. The third reason why Matt created Ruby is for fun. Matt really like programming languages, and he was dreaming of someday I will make my own programming language. So it was a dream of Matt's. And at the same time, Matt designed Ruby for your fun, where you means the programmers. So if you feel happy coding in Ruby, so it's a way Matt hopes to solve. Next, I introduce the first contact of Shugo and Ruby. It's in 1997. He was a Java programmer, and he made a regular exception library in Java and posted to a mailing list. Then someone replies, Ruby's regular exception library is better. Then Shugo found Ruby and fell in love with Ruby and threw away Java, and got involved with Ruby's development. So at first, he had 3 worries about using Ruby. The first one is Ruby is unpopular, isn't it? In 1997, this was right. Yes, it was. There's no books of Ruby, no real-world applications, and of course, no jobs for Ruby programming. But all the more, Shugo found Ruby was worth learning. He found Ruby is his secret weapon, as Paul Graham writes in his essay, Beating the Averages. The second worry is Ruby is slow, isn't it? Ruby is slow because some of Ruby's features makes it difficult to create a fast Ruby implementation. For example, it's dynamically typed, so you cannot use type information for optimization. And it's pure object-oriented, so no primitive types. And Ruby is extremely dynamic, so you can even define methods in runtime. So Ruby was slow, but Shugo says it was acceptable slow, at least for IO-bound applications. The last worry is dynamic typing is unsafe, isn't it? The answer is also yes, but Shugo says so write test code. And reprogramming is like riding a motorcycle. Shugo likes motorcycle a lot. So you can go anywhere, anytime you want, but you may sometimes slip down. And it's fun for me, and I hope you think so too. After 1999, in 5 years, Ruby's versions are up to 1.6. And then Ruby 1.8 is released on 2003. Ruby 1.8 is really stable and most successful version of Ruby. But now, in 2011, it's a past. New version is never released, and security fixes will be terminated after 2013. So you should migrate to 1.9. After Shugo has involved in Ruby development, he proposed some of the features of Ruby. The first one is putS. At that time, there was only print methods, no write-NN and print-NN, because they came from Pascal and Java, and Matt does not like Python and Java, so he's rejected. Then Shugo proposed the name putS. It came from C, and Shugo knows Matt really likes C, and Matt accepted. The second feature is called CC. It's somewhat too difficult to explain for me, but remember, it's a black magic. It is really powerful, but very dangerous. CC does saves and loads of interpreter state. So it can be used like goto in C, but it can even jump between methods. So really powerful, but it is so dangerous that you are not encouraged to use it anymore. So maybe it is removed in Ruby 2.0. The reason why CC is dangerous is that C calls and Ruby calls are nested in Ruby. So C stack is also restored by CC, but most of the C code doesn't take care of the CC. So it is very hard to CC safe C code. So even built-in methods were used to crash by CC. The third feature Shugo proposed was protected the visibility. It's equivalent to Java's protected. And Typically, it is used to implement binary operators. This is Shugo's question for Ruby on Rails people. He said he so often see abnormal use of protected because private methods can be called from subclass. So in these cases, you can use private. So next, I'd like to talk about with present. Ruby was not known in 1997, but nowadays Ruby is ranked the A. A means the mainstream. So Ruby is a mainstream language in 2011. The biggest reason why Ruby is so popular is Ruby on Rails. Sometimes Rails is more popular than Ruby. Shugo found a question asking the difference between Ruby and Ruby on Rails. So it may sound fun, but he is serious. And he's not alone because we found a same question on Japanese question site. He's asking what's the difference between Ruby and Ruby on Rails. So anyway, Rails makes Ruby very popular. Next topic is the Ruby standard. In March on this year, JISX 3070 is published. It is named Programming Gengo Ruby. That means programming language Ruby. So Ruby is now Japanese industrial standard. And we are working for make it to ISO standard. So why do we need standard? There are some reasons. One reason is if you work in a huge company, standards helps you to persuade your boss to, I want to use Ruby. It has standards, so we can use Ruby. And sometimes government procurement requires standard to specify Ruby for the project. And so you may worry about the standardization changes Ruby, but you don't need to worry about that because the working group made the standard from the current implementation. So new invention is added by the working group, and Ruby's development is kept free. Next topic is Ruby 1.9. It is the latest Ruby implementation and many improvements from 1.8. By the way, how many of you using 1.9? Oh, great. How about 1.8? Oh, okay, you should migrate, please. So I tell you why you should migrate today, because it's faster because of Sasada Koichi's new VM. And it has new useful syntaxes. The most popular one is the new hash syntax. If you use Ruby on Rails, you frequently pass optional options to methods. There are hash whose key is symbol and whose value is object. In Ruby 1.9, you can write these hashes without using the hash rocket. It's shorter in Ruby 1.9. And 1.9, some new syntax for blocks and lambda, but not more popular than the last one. Another improvement is extension of Splat. In 1.9, you can put the Splat in the middle of the arguments in defining methods or calling methods or block parameter or multiple assignments. And 1.9 has some big features. One is M17N. it stands for multilingualization. Most programming languages are based on Unicode, so users need to convert text to Unicode first. But Ruby 1.9, Matt chose the more powerful system named CSI, code set independent. In this system, Ruby can handle any encoding without translate into UTF-8. This is useful when you need to handle legacy encoding file, and it is not compatible to UTF-8. And another feature is named Fiber. Fiber is like thread, but the difference between Fiber and thread is thread is context changes automatically, but Fiber you can specify when to switch. This is an example of Fiber. Fiber is created by fiber.new, like thread.new. And when you call fiber.use, the context switches and return to the caller. So you can execute a block little by little. In this example, the first execution prints the 1 and return. Then we call resume again and print 2 and it returns. Finally, we call resume again and 3 is printed on the screen. So Ruby 1.9 is the present of Ruby. So please use it. You should use it now. Shugo says migration to 1.9 is easier than migration to Rails 3. Okay. So let me skip these slides. I want to talk about Ruby's future than present. Okay, the last topic is Ruby's future. Ruby 2.0 has been a long time a vaporware, does not exist on the Earth. For example, Matt mentioned about Ruby 2.0 at RubyConf 2001, so 10 years ago. But finally, he stated that he studied the work of Ruby 2.0. This is this October 19th. And they already decided when to release Ruby 2.0. It's planned to release in 2 years, 2013. So they are planning some new features in Ruby 2.0. One feature is keyword arguments. So when you want to pass options to methods, you write like this in Ruby 1.9. But the method which receives the options, you explicitly need to use hash. The Ruby 2.0 feature is you can write this code in this way. So you won't need hash to treat options anymore. Second feature is called module prepend. It's like module include, but slightly different. Include is append the module to the last, but prepend as the module to the first. So you can use module prepend like alias method chain in Ruby on Rails. This code does the same thing as alias method chain, but more cleaner. Another method feature planning is called refinements. Refinement is proposed by Shugo in last year's RubyConf US 2010. Refinements provides monkey patching but scoped. In this example, monkey patch to the divide operator is defined here. But in current Ruby, this override is available on whole program, so it may be dangerous. With refinements, you can make a scope where this monkey patch is enabled. In this case, this patch is only available in the module foo, this area. So outside of the module foo, the operator is the same, behaves the same as normal. who creates the Ruby's future? Shugo says it's you to create the Ruby's future. Since Ruby is wide open source project, everyone on the world can contribute to Ruby. There are some websites, Ruby committers, and other people discussing about the next Ruby. These are the URLs. You may think making Ruby is too hard for me, but Ruby is a very, very big system. So from array, hash, string to garbage collection, VM, Internet things, and library like OpenSSL, network, and so on. So there must be something you can find interesting. So we are waiting for you to join Ruby development. It must be fun to think about the Ruby which is not released yet, the future version of Ruby. And one more thing, I have announced from Ruby Association. The Ruby Association start call for grant proposals. They are looking for projects about Ruby and its environment and help the project. Anyone can submit a proposal for Ruby Association's grant. The size is defined in JPN, but about that US dollars. So please see the website of Ruby Association for details. If you have any idea to improve Ruby and its environment, please write email to Ruby Association. So let me wrap up the presentation. In the past, Ruby was created for fun of maths and the Ruby programmers. Ruby 1.8 is widely used, but it's fast now. As for Ruby's present, Ruby became now mainstream language, and Ruby 1.9 is present of Ruby. And as for Ruby's future, Ruby 2.0 is future, and you can change it by yourselves. Thank you. Hi.
Sí,
Yes.
una pregunta de un newbie de Ruby. ¿Cuál es la posición de la Ruby Association con respecto a otras implementaciones de Ruby, como JRuby, Iron Ruby, Rubinio, supongo?
Regarding JRuby, Iron Ruby.
Sorry, I don't know. They will support JRuby. Also, JRuby, MacRuby, Rubinius also. So I'm asking Shugo to support them back to Japan.
¿Alguien más? ¿Listo? Bueno. Ok. There's another one. English.
Hola. Bueno, quería preguntarte qué te parece la comunidad de Ruby Argentina, cómo la encontrás, qué diferencias encontrás con la de Japón.
Oh, it's a difficult question because I only stayed here for 2 days. Because what I can say is it was wonderful 2 days. It's awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. ¿Otra pregunta? ¿Estamos? Estamos. Bueno, último aplauso.